I remember about 12 years back, I was in the Himalayas in a place called Gangotri, that is the source of the Ganga. And I was staying in this little cottage just by the river, and there was an apple tree next to the river. And one day I was feeling a bit hungry because you get food by begging there, and sometimes it's not enough. Um, or maybe it's just the winter, the cold air which makes you hungry. So I would pluck the apples and eat them and sit near the river. A monk who lived in a cottage next to mine, he came and sat by me and he told me this, unforgettable. That was the month of August, I think, around the rainy season in the Himalayas. And he says, you know what's the difference between the mind of a yogi and the mind of a worldly person? A yogic mind and a worldly mind, the difference. And he illustrated it with the river. He said, look at the river now. Just after the rainy season, there's a lot of water in the river. It's moving fast and a lot of volume of water. Fast moving, a lot of water. And he says the mind of a worldly person is just like that. A lot of thoughts and changing fast. A lot of thoughts. And the second thing is, he said, look at the water. It's muddy. It's muddy because there are landslides in the rainy season because of the rain, and the soil gets mixed with the water, and so it's not clear, it's muddy. And he says, you cannot drink it yourself, and you cannot offer it to anybody else either. In the same way, he says, the mind of a worldly person, it's muddy. Negativities and resentments and miseries and anger and dislike and prejudices, they are all floating around there. It gives you no peace, and it gives others around you no peace also. Makes you unhappy, makes others around you unhappy. And the third thing he said was that it's dangerous. He said the way it flows, it's so dangerous. Just actually the day before that, lots and lots of pilgrims come from the plains of India because they want to go to the source of the Ganga. And they are not used to mountainous rivers. They have never seen the high mountains. So out of great devotion, they sit down there to take a dip in the Ganga, and they are sometimes swept away. The terrible tragedies occur. And just the day before, somebody had been killed. They had been swept away. It's dangerous. There are rocks all around, and the water is flowing very fast, and it's very cold. If you try to step into it, your foot becomes numb immediately. And he says the mind of a worldly person is like that. You don't know where such a mind will take you. Depression. People committing suicide. Why? The tragedies. In India, you see there's tremendous pressure for doing well in examinations. And every year when the examination results are declared, school and college, you'll find some young child, young boy or girl has committed suicide because he's done badly in the exams or something like that. Minor thing really. Not something to kill yourself over. So not only suicide, sometimes murderous rages. You see people going out and shooting other people. The mind. Milton said the mind in its own place can make a hell out of heaven and a heaven out of hell also. So it's a dangerous thing, the worldly mind. Where it will sweep you away, you don't know. And then he said to me, Swami, he said Mahatmaji, Mahatma, if you come in the winter, this is the rainy season, if you come in the winter, the same river, the Ganga there which is flowing, if you come in the winter, I can show you the same river, but what a difference. At that time, he said, it's very cold, and there's ice and snow all around, so there's very little water, and it flows slowly, deliberately. In the same way, a yogi's mind, a meditator's mind, there are only well-chosen few thoughts which are consciously chosen, and they flow under your conscious control. And he said that sometimes it stops, the whole river stops also. It's like samadhi. because it's frozen, so there's no water. So the yogi can stop the mind. So that's the first difference. The Vishayi, he said, the word he used was Vishayi, worldly person. Worldly person, worldly mind, lots of thoughts and muddy thoughts. And he said, yogi's mind, fewer thoughts, consciously chosen deliberately, and lot of clarity, not muddiness. He said, in fact, I remember, he said, you can go and stand on that, there's a wooden bridge. You can stand on that wooden bridge, and in the winter, if you throw a quarter, he said, Chawanni, you throw a quarter down into the river, it sinks to the riverbed, and you can actually read off the denomination of the coin there. It's so clear, like crystal clear, like glass. It says a meditator's mind, yogi's mind should be like that, crystal clear, compared to the worldly mind, which is muddy. It's positive, it's clear, it's calm. Second, it's so clear and pure, you can drink it yourself and you can give it to others to drink. Similarly, a yogi's mind is so calm and serene and clear, it gives peace to oneself, to the yogi, I mean. And it gives peace to all around. Those around, they feel the peace and joy. There are stories, of course, in the myths and the Puranas, how in the ashrams of rishis, a tiger and a lamb would sit down together. So that's a depiction of the peace generated by a yogic mind. And the third one is, it's not dangerous. It will not lead you astray. The mind, which is a meditative mind, will take you to your goal, which is God realization, enlightenment. They call it Purushartha, the goal of life. It will take you there. The mind, the worldly mind, it takes you away from your goal, whichever your goal is. Even if it's a worldly goal, even that one cannot achieve if the mind is disturbed. So here is the difference. It's worth remembering these 3 points of difference. The river in spate during the rainy season and the river in winter. Calm and clear and pure water, which you can drink, you can share with others, and not dangerous. He says you can walk across. It's actually, there's very little water at that time. So he says you can just walk across.